3400 BCE, Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers. The Tigris and Euphrates flood every spring, living behind rich black soil. People have been farming here for thousands of years, small villages, mud brick houses, growing barley and wheat. But something changes. Villages become cities. Uruk, Eridu, Lagash. Tens of thousands of people living together, organizing, specializing. And they have a problem. How do you keep track of thousands of people's grain stores? Who owns which field? Who owns what to whom? So they invent something that will change everything. Writing. Cuneiform. Wedge-shaped marks pressed into wet clay. At first, it's just accounting, simple pictographs, 1 sheep, 5 jars of oil, 2 fields of barley. But once you can write down what you own, you can write down what you know. So they start writing everything. The first medical prescriptions, beer recipes, how to predict when the moon will eclipse. They create the first schools, they build the first libraries, the first law codes, the first proverbs, the first love poetry, the first epic literature, Gilgamesh. But here's the thing. Among the earliest stories they wrote down, one of the very first narratives humanity chose to preserve was the myth of Inanna, a goddess who descends into the underworld. She passes through 7 gates. At each gate, she removes 1 piece of clothing, 1 piece of jewelry, 1 piece of power. She arrives naked, powerless, stripped of everything. She dies, hung on a hook for 3 days and 3 nights, and then she's resurrected. She returns through the same 7 gates, reclaiming what she lost but transformed. Think about that. The first civilization, the first writing, and one of the first stories is about a descent into darkness, complete dissolution, death, rebirth, return transformed. A story about consciousness itself, about stripping away everything you think you are, facing the void, and coming back whole. This pattern, descent and ascent, death and rebirth, formless and form, appears everywhere in Sumerian thought, in their cosmology, their rituals, their understanding of the seasons, the moon, the cycles of life. They saw it, they encoded it, they transmitted it, and then something happened. Greece inherited fragments of this wisdom. Plato saw the descent, the movement from form into the formless and from the material world into the realm of pure ideas. Aristotle saw the ascent, the movement from potential to actual, from formless matter into realized form. But they split it. Plato and Aristotle spent their lives arguing opposite directions of the same movement, and Western philosophy has been arguing ever since. Idealism versus materialism, rationalism versus empiricism, top-down versus bottom-up. 2 halves of what Inanna held whole. The Sumerians knew consciousness moves both ways, down into dissolution, up into manifestation. And you need both. History begins at Sumer, and maybe their first story was the complete story.